Welcome to the Blake Lab podcast. Not just theory, practical science for real people. I'm Dr. Ethan Blake, a physician and integrative medicine researcher at the Ravenshade Institute for Human Health. Let me ask you a simple but haunting question. What if your biggest heart risk is sitting on your breakfast plate right now? Not bacon, not fast food. I'm talking about the so-called healthy choices. The yogurt cup, the orange juice, the oatmeal you microwaved because you heard it was good for the heart. You've probably been told breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But what if the way you've been doing breakfast for the last 10, 20, even 30 years is quietly damaging your cardiovascular system without a symptom, without a warning? I've spent the last 2 decades working with older adults, especially those over 60, and I've seen it too many times. Patients come in confused. They're walking daily, taking their pills, eating light. No soda, no fried food, just toast, just fruit, just a cup of yogurt. But under the surface, their arteries are inflamed, their blood pressure is rising, their heart is under siege. And it all started with breakfast. So today, I'm going to walk you through 7 common breakfast habits that could be sabotaging your heart, even if you've been told they're healthy. I'll tell you exactly what's going wrong, how it affects your cardiovascular system, and most importantly, what to eat instead. Because your first meal of the day doesn't just set the tone for your energy. It can either protect your heart or quietly steal years from it. Let's get into it.
1. Instant oatmeal, the sugar trap in disguise. Let's start with something nearly every older adult keeps in their pantry: instant oatmeal. You know the one. Comes in those convenient little packets, promises heart healthy on the box, maybe even says maple and brown sugar like it's a cozy hug from childhood. But here's the truth. No sweetener added. That little paper pouch is a sugar bomb. And it might be the very thing stressing your heart every single morning. Now look, I'm not against oats. Real oats, slow-cooked, whole-grain oats, those are fantastic. They lower LDL, improve gut health, support brain function. But instant, flavored oatmeal? That's a different beast. Most of those packets carry 12 to 18 grams of added sugar, sometimes more than a glazed donut. And if you're like many of my patients, you eat 2 packets at a time. Congratulations! You just hit your entire day's sugar limit before the sun even clears the trees. And here's the kicker. When you eat all that sugar first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, your blood glucose skyrockets. Then insulin crashes it. Then you feel shaky, foggy, maybe even irritated, and you think, I must need more food. It's not your willpower, it's your biochemistry getting hijacked. But it doesn't stop there. Those sugar spikes, they fuel vascular inflammation, the quiet enemy of aging hearts. They stiffen your arteries. They raise your blood pressure. They put wear and tear on your heart muscle. And over time, those daily little breakfasts add up to a big cardiovascular burden. Now, here's the part that keeps me up at night. These are good people, disciplined people. They've cut out bacon. They've said goodbye to cereal. They're trying. But they're being tricked by marketing, by heart-healthy claims slapped on sugar-soaked packets. And yes, it gets worse. Many of these instant oats also sneak in sodium, preservatives, and refined grains, which strain your kidneys and raise your blood pressure even higher. It's not that you'll feel chest pain after one bowl. You'll feel nothing. Until one day, it's everything. A dizzy spell, a skipped heartbeat, a quiet warning from a heart that's had enough. So here's what to do. Swap those packets for real steel-cut oats, the kind you cook slowly. Top them with real fruit, not syrupy fruit blends. Add cinnamon, chia, or a few walnuts if you want depth of flavor without spiking your insulin. Let breakfast be what it was meant to be, a healing ritual, not a hidden threat. Because if instant oatmeal, something so widely trusted, can betray your heart, what about that innocent slice of toast sitting beside it, smeared with butter or margarine? Let's talk about that next.
2. Toast with butter or margarine, the silent artery clogger. It's simple, it's warm, it's familiar. A slice of toast, a pat of butter, maybe a mug of coffee to go with it. Seems harmless, right? But here's the hard truth. That innocent breakfast is quietly clogging arteries across America, one bite at a time. Let's break this down like a doctor who's seen too many clogged vessels on a scan. First, the bread. Most commercial toast is made from refined white flour, the kind stripped of fiber, minerals, and basically anything good. Once it hits your digestive system, it converts to sugar almost instantly. That spikes insulin, raises inflammation, and puts your cardiovascular system into overdrive before 8 a.m. Now, let's smear on some trouble. Butter, as comforting as it may taste, is loaded with saturated fat. And while not all saturated fat is evil, too much of it, especially daily, raises LDL cholesterol, the sticky kind that clogs your arteries. But I switched to margarine, you say. Oof! Many margarine brands, especially the old-school shelf-stable types, are made with hydrogenated oils, aka trans fats. These fats don't just raise bad cholesterol, they lower your good cholesterol and directly damage your artery lining. That's like sanding the inside of your blood vessels with every bite. Here's what that damage looks like over time. Hardened arteries, elevated blood pressure, reduced oxygen delivery to the brain and heart, a ticking clock towards stroke, heart failure, or worse. And guess what? You won't feel it coming. No chest pain, no tightness. Just one day, a short breath, a stumble, a test result you never expected. As a cardiologist, I've had patients in their 70s and 80s, men and women, look at me in disbelief. "Doctor, I never eat fast food," they say. "I just have toast and butter every morning." And yet, their scans tell the truth. Their arteries? Choked. Their heart? Working overtime. So what should you do? Try this instead. Swap white toast for sprouted grain or whole grain bread. It slows sugar absorption and feeds your heart, not your insulin. Skip the butter and margarine. Go for a thin smear of avocado, a drizzle of olive oil, or even nut butter, unsweetened, of course. And if you want flavor, use herbs, not hydrogenation. Because here's the reality. Your heart at 60 or 70 is not the same as it was at 30. It's earned your respect, and the way you start your day can either help it or hurt it. But if toast can do this much damage, what happens when you add sausage to the mix? Salty, processed, and sizzling with nostalgia? Let's talk about that next,
And what's really hiding inside that breakfast meat?
3. Breakfast sausage, the hidden salt and chemical bomb. You know the smell, that rich, savory scent wafting from the kitchen. It's nostalgic, it's comforting. It smells like Sunday morning and home and childhood. But under all that comfort lies a chemical cocktail your heart was never meant to handle. I'm talking about breakfast sausage. Even the ones labeled lean, natural, or chicken. They might be leaner in fat, but they're loaded with something far more dangerous: sodium, preservatives, and nitrates. Let's unpack this like your arteries depend on it, because they do. Just one sausage patty can contain 400 to 600 milligrams of sodium. That's nearly a third of the recommended daily sodium limit for adults over 60, in one bite. And let's be honest, no one stops at one. That salt pulls water into your blood vessels like a sponge, increasing volume and pressure. Your heart now has to pump harder, faster, just to do its job. It's like asking a 70-year-old man to carry a 40-pound backpack all day, every day, without rest. But wait, it gets worse. Most processed sausages also contain sodium nitrite and nitrites, used to preserve color and shelf life. Sounds harmless? They're not. These compounds generate nitrosamines inside your body, chemicals directly linked to vascular inflammation, plaque buildup, increased risk of heart disease, and yes, even colorectal cancer. And don't get me started on the saturated fat content. Even light sausages still contribute to LDL cholesterol spikes, the kind that forms artery-clogging sludge over time. Here's what I've seen too often in my clinic. A patient in his 60s or 70s comes in, confused. "Doc, I don't eat fast food. I eat clean. Just eggs and sausage every morning." But their EKG tells a different story. Hypertension, stiff arteries, reduced heart function. And under it all, a breakfast habit that felt safe but wasn't. Listen, I'm not here to rob you of flavor or joy. I'm here to keep you around long enough to enjoy them. So what do? Try this. Swap sausage for lean, unprocessed proteins. Think boiled eggs, plain tofu, or a bit of wild-caught salmon. Skip the chemicals and season with herbs, turmeric, paprika, rosemary. Your tongue will thank you, and your heart even more. Read the label. If your sausage has 12 ingredients and half of them are unpronounceable, put it back. Because at your age, your heart has already carried you through a lifetime. It doesn't need one more battle, especially not from the food you think is fueling it. And if sausage, a food we grew up with, hides this much danger, what about that sweet little cup of yogurt in your fridge, dressed in fruit, wrapped in health claims? Let's open the lid on that next.
4. Flavored yogurt. Sweet poison in a plastic cup. It's small. It's colorful. It says low fat, gut healthy, made with real fruit. You peel the lid back, take a spoonful, and think, finally, something good for me. But what if that little cup of flavored yogurt is quietly tearing away at your heart, one spoonful at a time? Here's the blunt truth. Most flavored yogurts on grocery shelves are closer to dessert than medicine. They're packed with added sugars, fruit syrups, chemical thickeners, and artificial flavors, and almost none of that is listed front and center. A single 6-ounce serving can contain 18 to 25 grams of sugar. That's more than many candy bars. And remember, you're eating this thinking it's health food. Now, when you're in your 60s or 70s, your body doesn't process sugar like it used to. The pancreas responds slower. The cells are less sensitive to insulin. So what happens when you dump that sugary yogurt into your system first thing in the morning? Blood sugar spikes, insulin surges, inflammation skyrockets. And repeated daily? That's the perfect storm for insulin resistance, atherosclerosis, heart failure, and ultimately, a heart that just can't keep up. And don't fall for the low-fat trap. When food companies take out fat, they add sugar to compensate for flavor. So the yogurt becomes low-fat and high-risk. I've seen it again and again. Seniors who gave up red meat, fried food, soda, but kept that one little yogurt cup in their morning ritual. They believed the marketing. They trusted the packaging. And over the years, it quietly sabotaged their cardiovascular health. But here's the good news. You don't have to quit yogurt, just choose the right kind. Here's what I recommend. Go plain, unsweetened, full-fat Greek yogurt. Add your own fruit, fresh blueberries, strawberries, even a slice of banana. Use a drizzle of raw honey from your kitchen, not a factory. The difference between store-bought flavored yogurt and real yogurt with fruit, it's not just flavor. It's the difference between fueling inflammation and fueling healing. Because every meal you eat after 60 is either medicine or poison. The choice isn't always obvious, but it is always yours. And if yogurt, of all things, can be this dangerous, what about orange juice? The classic, the icon, the healthy start to your day. Let's peel back the truth in the next section.
5. Orange juice. A glass of sugar without the fiber. It's golden. It's refreshing. It's what many of us grew up thinking health looks like in a glass. Orange juice, the breakfast drink of champions, right? Well, not exactly. Because if you're over 60, that bright, innocent-looking glass may be quietly fueling inflammation, raising blood pressure, and straining your heart with every sip. Let's be clear. Oranges are not the problem. Whole oranges are packed with fiber, vitamin C, flavonoids, a powerful package nature designed to nourish and protect. But once you strip out the fiber, concentrate the sugars, and pour it into a glass, you've just created a liquid sugar bomb. One 8-ounce glass of orange juice contains over 20 grams of sugar, the same as a can of soda. And many people pour twice that much, especially first thing in the morning when the body is still fasting and highly insulin sensitive. So what happens next? Blood sugar surges, insulin spikes, your arteries get inflamed, cortisol rises, and your heart begins its day under attack. This isn't hyperbole, it's biochemistry. When your vascular system is hit with sugar overload every morning, your arteries stiffen, your blood pressure creeps up. Your risk for atherosclerosis, arrhythmias, and heart failure climbs quietly. And here's the kicker. Juice doesn't satisfy hunger. It actually triggers more cravings later. Why? Because you've bypassed the fiber that slows digestion and stabilizes blood sugar. So your body gets all the sugar and none of the protection. I've had patients tell me, "But Dr. Blake, I gave up soda years ago." Yes, and replaced it with something that does the same damage but in a prettier glass. Now, does that mean you can never enjoy orange flavor again? Of course not. But eat the fruit, don't drink it. Here's what I suggest. Swap juice for a whole orange or grapefruit wedge. Drink herbal tea or warm lemon water in the morning. Or just plain water. Your arteries will thank you. Your heart needs calm,
not chaos. Nourishment, not a sugar surge dressed as a health drink. Because if even orange juice, that golden morning ritual, can silently strain your cardiovascular system, what do you think happens when we reach for the king of comfort foods? A stack of soft golden pancakes dripping in syrup. Yeah, it's time to talk about that.
6. Pancakes and syrup. A sweet start that ends in strain. There's something deeply comforting about pancakes. The smell, the warmth, the memories of Sunday breakfasts with grandkids or lazy mornings with someone you love. It feels safe. It feels good. But under all that golden fluff lies a metabolic ambush your heart wasn't built to survive. Let's start with the foundation, the pancakes themselves. Most are made from refined white flour, stripped of fiber, stripped of nutrients, and broken down into sugar the moment it enters your bloodstream. It's not nourishment, it's processed starch that behaves like pure glucose. Now, add syrup. Whether it's real maple or high-fructose corn syrup from a plastic bottle, the effect is nearly identical. Just 2 tablespoons deliver over 25 grams of sugar, and most people pour double that without thinking. What does that mean for your heart? It means your blood sugar spikes sharply, followed by a steep insulin surge. Then your arteries tense up, your blood pressure climbs, and your heart is forced to pump harder, all before 9 a.m. That sweet, nostalgic breakfast is triggering vascular inflammation, insulin resistance, and oxidative stress with every bite. And here's the worst part. You don't feel it. You feel full, maybe sleepy, maybe satisfied. But inside, your cardiovascular system is being pushed beyond what it can safely handle, especially after 60. The arteries stiffen, the walls thicken, and one day, a scan shows damage you never saw coming. I've sat with patients whose hearts were failing, and they never suspected their pancakes had anything to do with it. They thought they were making a better choice. No bacon, no fried food, just something homey. But comfort food without structure is often a quiet killer. So, what can you do? You don't have to give up the warmth, just change the recipe. Start here. Use oat flour, almond flour, or buckwheat instead of white flour. Add chia seeds, cinnamon, or mashed banana for flavor and fiber. Top with a handful of berries or a light sprinkle of crushed walnuts, not syrup. Your taste buds will still thank you, but more importantly, your heart will get a break from the morning assault. Because this isn't about denial. It's about staying alive with strength, clarity, and rhythm long enough to enjoy those mornings with the people you love. And if pancakes drenched in syrup can quietly tear down your heart, what about skipping breakfast altogether? You might think you're doing your body a favor, but the truth might surprise you. Let's talk about that next. 7. Skipping breakfast entirely, an invisible threat. It sounds logical, doesn't it? If breakfast foods are risky, maybe it's better to skip breakfast altogether. Eat less, lower the calories, give your system a break. Simple, clean, efficient. But if you're over 60, skipping breakfast isn't just a missed meal. It's a metabolic gamble that can quietly unravel your heart, day after day, without a sound. Let's look at what's happening under the surface. When you wake up, your body is already in a mild state of stress. You've been fasting for 10 to 12 hours. Your blood sugar is low, your cortisol is naturally elevated, and your heart is working to maintain balance. Now, if you skip breakfast, if you give your heart nothing to work with, you amplify that stress. The body releases more adrenaline and cortisol to stay alert, blood pressure rises, heart rate increases, and your arteries, especially if they're already aging or stiff, constrict. This state doesn't cause symptoms at first, but over time it chips away at your cardiovascular resilience. It increases your risk of hypertension, heart rhythm disturbances, silent arterial damage, and stress-triggered heart events. And here's something most people never consider: medication. Many older adults take heart pills, blood pressure meds, or blood thinners in the morning. Taking those on an empty stomach? That's a setup for dizziness, sudden drops in blood pressure, even falls or fainting, all of which carry serious risks, especially if you live alone. I've had patients come in saying they collapsed in the kitchen. We look at the labs, the ECG, everything looks okay, until I ask, "Did you eat anything with your morning meds?" The answer is, "No, doc, I wasn't hungry." And that's the moment it clicks. Your body, especially after 60, needs steady support. Not extremes, not punishment, not fasting marathons. You don't need a giant breakfast. You just need something real, something gentle. Here's what I recommend: a boiled egg, half a banana, a slice of sprouted grain toast, or a small handful of nuts with herbal tea. Something to stabilize your system, to anchor your energy, to give your heart the fuel it needs to do its job, without strain, without guesswork. Because skipping breakfast doesn't save you. It robs your body of the one thing it needs most in the morning: stability. And now that we've exposed all 7 of these breakfast pitfalls, from sugar-packed oats to an empty plate, let's bring it all together. In the final section, I want to give you something better, something strong, simple, and heart-smart, so your next breakfast becomes a daily act of healing. Shall we wrap this up?
A heart that still has time. Let breakfast love you back. By the time you reach your 60s, your heart has already beaten more than 2 billion times. 2 billion quiet gifts without asking for thanks. It's carried you through grief and joy, hard years and good ones. But now it's asking for something small and sacred. A little help. Because every breakfast you choose, that first bite, that first sip, sends a message. It either says, "I'm still fighting for you," or it says, "You're on your own." The instant oatmeal with its hidden sugars, the toast with its artery-clogging fats, the sausage that smells like childhood but weighs on your chest like a stone. Even the sweet yogurt, the orange juice, the pancakes, or simply nothing at all, they all add up. Not in flavor, in friction. Against your arteries, against your rhythm, against your future. But here's the part I want you to hold on to. It's not too late. Your heart is resilient, your body is waiting, and breakfast, that quiet ritual you've done 1,000 times, could become your daily act of healing. So starting tomorrow, choose different. Steel-cut oats with berries and cinnamon, sprouted toast with olive oil or avocado, a boiled egg, a warm cup of tea, a piece of fruit, the whole fruit, not the juice. Not because it's trendy, but because it's wise, because it honors the life you still have ahead, and because someone, somewhere, still needs you here. Strong, sharp, steady. Now, if this episode gave you something real, not just facts, but a shift in how you see your health, then do one simple thing that could ripple far beyond this moment. Like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to the Blake Lab podcast. Not for clicks, not for fame, but because truth like this, it doesn't always make it to the people who need it most. You sharing it might just save a life, quietly, just like these breakfasts were trying to take one. And that would be a morning worth remembering. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. And until next time, eat well, breathe deep, and protect the heart that's carried you this far.